Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning into the Financial Investor channel. My name is Brent, and today's going to be sort of being like an off-topic day. I don't really have anything planned. I just wanted to discuss some of the markets changes that took place today. Every time I see that there's a market, not really a correction, but there's a pullback of like 0.5% or higher, I always make a video just to kind of record it historical. Today, we had an increase across all the markets of around 0.5% or higher. NASDAQ, I would consider that 0.5. So the S&P 500 had a huge jump today at 0.98. The Dow Jones had a huge increase of 1.09%. The NASDAQ up 0.49%. And then my portfolio had an increase of 1.13%. So I don't think I've seen another date in the past where my portfolio had jumped that high in a single day. It might be in a week where I would get something over a percentage difference. But so I was looking for some news and I didn't see anything besides the whole Bitcoin craze that's been taking place. Maybe people out there are more willing to invest in the stock market and Bitcoin, so it's driving a lot of money into into investments in general. But I don't know if there's something out there that you guys had seen on the news that took place today during the actual physical day, when stuff was trading, not really in the after hours. But what caused the market to go up so high? Now, one of the things I was taking a look at today was CenturyLink. CenturyLink dipped down into the $13.60 range. I did post I wanted to post a photo, but Facebook, for some reason, I can't post any photos on my Facebook. It always says that there's some sort of an error. So I uploaded it as a GIF, which I think is terrible, but it works as a representation of the image. So CenturyLink had dipped down into the $13.16 range, which that was a great buying opportunity. You can see it then trailed up throughout the rest of the morning and peaked and had an increase of 0.55% today. So I'm hoping this kind of continues. I would like to see them, bounce back. You can see that there was a huge buy-in towards the end of the day. There was huge sell-offs in the early morning. You can see that's what kind of drove the price down of the stock. So whenever you see this kind of going on, these massive sells, if you were a day or swing trader, you definitely want to get out of that stock as quick as you could. And then once you kind of see they it's kind of dwindled down throughout the day, and then there's a huge spike right through this portion right here, and that drove CenturyLink up, and then there's another huge purchase right towards the end of the trading day. So in the after hours, I didn't see an increase in the after hours, but going into tomorrow, Wednesday, I do believe that CenturyLink's going to continue going forward. Hopefully there'll be more people that are willing to invest now that it's kind of fallen into the $13 range. I can kind of see that kind of going back up. Now I can show you the portfolio here. This is my portfolio. So I had an increase of 1.13. It shows the markets right there with the 1.09, 0.49. The S&P 500 is 0.98 increase. Now, CenturyLink, I always talk about this. It is one of my huge losers right now. It's down 24.61%. I'm down $580 in it, but I still think it's so short term. I'm not worried about the short term. CenturyLink is a great company. It's not going around anywhere. I've had other investors out there in some of the group chats that I talk about. They're like, oh no, CenturyLink's going to go bankrupt. They're not going to be around in the future. So a lot of that, CenturyLink, they work in over 60 countries around the world. They're upgrading their, it's crazy. But main topic for discussion today, I just kind of want to talk about it freely. Nothing really scripted as far as one I wanted to cover. It was Bitcoin. Bitcoin's such a thing that I hear every single day. My manager, he talks about Bitcoin. He's invested in Ethereum and Litecoin. A couple of my other friends, they mine Litecoin and Ethereum still. Nobody really touches Bitcoin itself just because it's the volatility of it. It just swings up and down, up and down. You can see here that Bitcoin, huge things, broke 6,000 back in October, broke 8,000, amid speculation of it spiraling out of control. And then today, on the 28th of November, it broke $10,000 around 8:30, I believe, sometime. And that is just unbelievable. For something that was launched back in 2009, we're going to be going into this at the 10-year mark, and this whole currency, Bitcoin, had only grown to about $1,000 up until the start of this year. So up until the start of December or 2017, Bitcoin was only sitting at $1,000. That was a really reasonable area for what it is. Now it's currently trading at over $10,000. Now, why do I believe it shot up to such a high point? It's because, I believe that a lot of these new investors, millennials or whoever, because I know it's just not millennials that are investing in Bitcoin. I know there's a lot of the older folks, kind of, the older generation, the baby boomers and such, investing in Bitcoin as speculation, but a lot of these people are helping out the ones who had invested in Bitcoin prior to the huge explosion. So Bitcoin was only trading very slowly back in the past, and it's just now recently started to take off within 2017. And it's all because nobody wants to miss out on this huge cash, the huge gain. Bitcoin's growing over 1,000%, and it's still increasing, but is it really worth $10,000? It's all speculation. It's you're basically buying what somebody else is selling it for, and essentially you're going to be able to only sell it for what other people are willing to buy it for. So it's not going to be used as it was created for, as a currency. There's way too much fluctuation in it to be used as a currency. It's not worth $1,000 one day, or say $10,000 one day. It's worth $10,200 one day, and then $9,800 one day. So it's very volatile. It's not going to be used right now as it's supposed to be used as a currency. It's used more as a asset, or used for capital appreciation. So a lot of these investors that are jumping into it now, they're only doing so because they see that as an easy way to make money, but by doing this, they're just pushing it up further and further and further, and eventually there's going to be a point where all the people who had invested in it prior, they're going to be cashing out, and I could see this coming back down maybe into the $2,000 to $4,000 range is where I would consider this at a reasonable price. And Bitcoin itself, it's left all the other competitors in the dust, the Bitcoin or the Litecoin and Ethereum. So I don't know if it'll come back down to that range, $2,000 to $4,000. I can see it definitely happen. It's came down in the past. Back in 2014, it came down pretty hard, but look at this climb. It had a similar climb back in 14, but it came back down and settled. Oh, that's right. It was around $1,500. I remember when I was working, I got out of the army in 13 and was watching this Bitcoin. I was like, man, I wish I had invested in that. And then it fell down. I was like, oh man, I'm glad I didn't invest in that. And then it was kind of down here for the longest time. So I just thought that was a really interesting topic. I always watch cryptocurrency. I like technology. I like blockchain. I think it's a good thing of the future, in the future. I just don't see Bitcoin taking us to the future and being that one that's actually going to be the winner in the future. It's still 10 years old, and all this growth has only been seen in the last year, and it's mainly because new investors are diving into it so they don't miss out, but they're going to end up hurting themselves in the very end, because they're trying to, 3% of the Google searches are, how can I buy Bitcoin on credit? And that's never a great start. So it could be a bubble, warns of a bubble. So I thought that was an interesting topic just for like late night. It's 11:30 at night right now, so I'm going to be uploading this video, and then I'll still be doing my 5 stocks ex dividends next week, or I'm sorry, released tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So if anybody watches this right now, you'll probably see my ex dividends on Wednesday at 8. So that's it. Thank you for tuning in. If you have found this fun at all, go ahead and hit the like button below. If you're invested in Bitcoin, go ahead and type in the comments below that you're invested in Bitcoin. I understand it's something that, there's only so much Bitcoin out there. It's not where the petrodollar, where they can just print more money, it loses value due to inflation. there's only so much cryptocurrency or so much Bitcoin that can be mined, and that's why it's getting harder to mine. And eventually, it's going to get to a peaking point where, it's going to peak. So that's it. That's it. That's it. Go ahead and leave anything in the comments if you have any questions on. And thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.